My friends, my extended family, my warriors, welcome to this week's video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do that now and hit the bell for all the notifications for my upcoming videos. In today's video, I want to talk about our stomach. That's right, our stomach. And just to pinpoint some personal experiences when it comes to the stomach symptom of anxiety, I had a very tight stomach. It was always very tight. And because it was tight, I felt a restriction in my breathing. And because I felt a restriction in my breathing, I was hyperventilating, and I actually thought that hyperventilating was normal. This is the normal way to breathe. This isn't the normal way to breathe. No, we're kidding ourselves. We're telling ourselves stories. And because I felt like it was the normal way to breathe, what tended to happen was I got dizzy. I was always dizzy. I was seeing double of everything. My perceptions were always connected to threat. All of this coming from the symptom of anxiety connected to the bodily part that is the stomach. Now let's understand this stomach symptom a little bit more in detail. Because what I want to do today is I want to make an emotional connection to what you're feeling physically. If we can make an emotional connection to what you're feeling physically, you will stop looking for the answers on the outside, and you will look within to heal what it is you can heal. Your stomach is the seat of your instinctual fight or flight response. So Dennis, you're telling me that when my perceptions change around an upcoming situation, my health, whatever it may be, then this symptom will also disappear. I will begin breathing in a more calm and depth manner. Yes. Digestive problems and anxiety go hand in hand because it is connected to an inability to fully digest new ideas. Let that sink in for a moment, the inability to fully digest new ideas. I'll be talking about this in detail in a few minutes, but I want you to go ahead and tap into this. How metaphorical. The inability to digest new ideas. Does this sound like you? You may have a new idea arise. A new idea that says, you know what? These are emotional connections that are manifesting as physical symptoms, but you can't seem to digest that idea. Or the idea of, I can trust in my body. I can trust in the ever changes that are happening in life. But you can't seem to digest them. You can't seem to turn them into beliefs. Give me a few moments, I will be talking about this in more detail. Now let's talk about these five emotional connections to the stomach symptom of anxiety that you are experiencing. Number one is you are holding in nourishment. You are holding in nourishment. What I mean by this is there's a reason why you don't feel it necessary to take care of yourself. There's a reason why you feel like your level of self-worth is so depleted and so low that anytime something good happens in your life, you sabotage it. You are holding in nourishment towards yourself and therefore nourishment towards others. Does this sound like you? You love somebody on the outside. You love your spouse. You love your son. You love your daughter. You love your mother. But there seems to be blocks. Blocks between you and that person. The love that you want to share for that person. So what tends to happen is you love them to some extent. But the truth is that over-worry quickly takes over. Over-worry in some way, and you turn into a helicopter parent. Oh my God, is my son okay? Oh, don't do that. Be careful. Be careful when you do this. Be careful when you do that. You're a helicopter parent. Don't be a helicopter parent. So the first idea that's connected to this stomach symptom of anxiety is you're holding in nourishment. So Dennis, here's my question to you. What's the solution to holding in nourishment? Take notes. Self-hugs as you go through the day. Self-hugs. How easy it is to create just a few self-hugs and to say, you know what? Today, it's okay to love myself. Today, it's okay to see my past as a learning experience. Today, it's okay to create the kind of future I want to live in. Self-hugs, and find a way to help one person every single day. This will take care of this ability for you to finally feel like you're nourishing yourself and therefore you're helping others. Number 2 reason is an inability to digest new ideas like we talked about earlier. Here's the solution to this. I want you to explore these new ideas more deeply rather than block them. You know when you get a kitten, you have a cat, some of you have cats, and you have the kitten come in. The cat is smelling everything. The cat is looking around. The cat is trying to be familiar with their new surroundings, their new environment, and the people within it. Be like that cat when it comes to new ideas. A new idea arises, an epiphany, a moment of clarity. You're going, oh my God, there's that new idea. That new idea that I need to become more curious around. Therefore, you are being like that cat. Fantastic. And what tends to happen when you become curious over these new ideas? They tend to become strengthened. And when these new ideas become strengthened, they start to turn into belief systems. Yes, belief systems. So, if you have this inability to digest new ideas, explore them more deeply. Number 3 reason is because of dread. Dread over what could happen. And let's connect this to the seat of your fight or flight response. The more dread you feel, the tighter your stomach gets, the tighter your breathing gets, the more dizzy you become, and you run into these neurological problems, you run into digestive problems. It's like a domino effect, one after the other. And what's interesting is, when you take care of one aspect, the root aspect of the symptom, the domino starts to fall in the other direction. All of those symptoms start to subside. That's what we're looking for here. So in terms of dread connected to your stomach anxiety symptom, the idea that you walk around with every single day is what could happen. And what could happen isn't so much in the positive sense, it's in the negative sense. What could happen next to me, right? So, as you can see, with this idea of dread, we are living a life of prevention as the sun goes down. This idea of prevention. Oh my God, I have to go about my day making sure that the worst doesn't happen to me. And in order for the worst not to happen to me, I mustn't place myself in new experiences. I mustn't step out of my comfort zone. And when we talk about comfort zones, we're not talking about environments only. No, that's limited thinking. We're talking about ways of thinking. We're talking about belief systems. These are comfort zones. We're talking about people you surround yourself with, negative energies all the time. We're talking about the same job or career choice. We're talking about the same transportation method. We're talking about all of these different comfort zones. What could happen, right? So here's the solution to the dread that's connected to this bodily symptom of anxiety we're talking about around your stomach. Use imagery to practice letting go and trusting, my friends. Use imagery every single day. In fact, if someone asked me, Dennis, if there was one skill set that you could recommend that you believe worked better than anything else, I wouldn't say it's so much C in the CBT or B in the CBT. I wouldn't say that it's anything except imagery. This is the skill set you want to get better at. Because instead of unconsciously imagining the worst, we are consciously imagining the best. So if you feel like there's dread in your life every single day, I want you to close your eyes and allow yourself to get emotional around what you're about to imagine. And I want you to imagine yourself letting go and skydiving. As you're skydiving, yes, you are feeling the adrenaline, but it's not a bad thing. You are feeling the adrenaline, you're looking around and going, I am alive. And because you're doing this, you're saying, hey, inner child, subconscious mind, same thing. It's okay to let go. You can see the metaphorical component to healing here. When I imagine myself skydiving, I am giving myself permission to let go of dread. I am giving myself permission to let go of an artificial identity that is called anxiety. I am giving myself permission to let go of these belief systems about myself and what other people think about me. Who cares? Imagine yourself bungee jumping. I know what you're saying. I would never bungee jump, but just imagine. Imagine yourself bungee jumping. Because you know what? The only way these imagery exercises will work is if you're dissatisfied with where you are. Some people are so comfortable in their misery, they're going, I can't do that, therefore I'm not going to do that. No, don't let this be you. Imagine yourself skydiving and letting go, trusting in this world, trusting in change. Imagine yourself bungee jumping and letting go, and imagine yourself falling backwards and letting your loved ones catch you. Can I trust you? And they're saying, absolutely yes. Boom. And when you're in their hands, you're going, I'm glad I did so. I did something that allowed me to step out of my comfort zones, which is allowing me to trust and change more. In order for us to heal, we must trust in change. And sometimes that change is painful. Sometimes that change is physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritual, painful. But that's okay. That's the chapter. That's the journey. You must embrace it, my friends. Number 4 is the fear of the new. When it comes to the stomach physical symptom of anxiety, it's the fear of the new, anything new. That's why you see anxiety sufferers constantly look to hang on to what they have rather than creating something different. You tell somebody, hey, why don't you write that book about your life? And they're going, no, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather just do what I do every single day. Well, the question is, why won't you write the book? And many times it's about what other people will think about them. This is a fear of the new. So what's the solution? The solution is to think of what can come out of the new that is good instead and act on it. For example, if I'm thinking about writing a book, I need to think about all the good that's going to come from writing that book, because that's a conscious act. If I'm writing that book and all of a sudden I get this feeling in my stomach that says don't do it, that's an unconscious act. Which one are you going to follow? The conscious act says, if I write this book, I'm going to help people. If I write this book, all these new ideas that I want to turn into belief systems in terms of empowerment and creativity and the ability to do anything, these will be strengthened. That's a conscious act. The unconscious side says, don't do it. You're going to make a mistake. And you know what? When you were growing up, you made so many mistakes. We can't allow that to happen again. Well, it's up to you to say, hey, inner child, it's time to move on. And the way you move on is to strengthen your consciousness, to focus on what good can come out of the new, and then act on it. Even if it's writing down one sentence in that book, act on it. So it's not just about the thinking. It's not just about the intention. Without the action, the consistent action, there will be no change. So stop kidding yourself, thinking that just because you think differently, everything's going to change. No, it's not. Stop kidding yourself, thinking that change is going to come to you. Change is not going to come to you. You must come to change. That's where the power lies. And finally, number 5. It's the inability to assimilate the new, right? With anxiety sufferers, there is a potential to be overwhelmed by the things they need to do because they're already overwhelmed, right? I know what it's like. I know what that's like. This is connected to the stomach symptom. And instead of every single day looking to put together these Lego pieces, right? And then blowing the Lego up and starting all over again. The solution is to simplify your healing structure. Simplify it, simplify it. Because my friends, it's not about taking that massive leap today. It's about you doing one tiny little thing every single day and becoming addicted to that. Because when you do these little things for yourself, they start to add up. They start to add up. And when they start adding up, you start to identify with them. You're going, you know what? Everything I thought about this thing about myself or this action wasn't true. Right? I am capable of X. I can create Y. I can become Z. This is what it's about. So my friends, you have now the information that has bridged the gap between the emotions and this physical symptom of anxiety we talk about as being connected to your stomach. My question to you is, are you going to watch this video a few times? Are you going to go into the description and read about these 5 connections? And are you going to read about the solutions? And then what are you going to do about it? Those are my questions for you. Because it's time. It's time for change. And I'm going to leave you with this. We must approach our stomach symptoms from a broader standpoint. Not in terms of it being a physical problem, but it being a mental, emotional, heck, even a blockage towards a spiritual problem. When we think more broadly, we have opportunity. Opportunity arises. But when we think in very narrow terms, what tends to happen is we get very narrow answers. When we get narrow answers, there is no change. This is a defense mechanism by the inner child, looking to keep you in your comfort zones. But it's time that you said, hey, inner child, it's time for change. We've suffered enough. And yes, we've survived, but that's not good enough. It's not enough to survive. There are people out there counting on you. I'm counting on you because when you win, I win. So let's commit. Watch this video a few times. Share it with somebody who needs it. And understand the message today. In fact, comment below. I want to know the biggest clarity that you gained from this video today. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. If you have any questions on the Inner Circle program, the #1 anxiety recovery program available online today, head over here. And remember that you are more than anxiety. Don't ever forget it.